Better late than never, but I just wanted to say thanks for the gold and silver. Story 1. It's not really a rule, but it blows my mind that in today's time you can be so intimate and have sex with someone and still wonder if they really like you. Story 2. People who obsess about double texting or messaging, if you have something to say, just say it. That you generally have to be flirting with 5 or 6 different people in dating apps at any given moment because on date nights, everyone is going to choose their best option at the moment, and you need to make sure you've got plans B and C. Story 3. Don't double text. Don't instantly reply, wait 15 minutes. Give them the cold shoulder until they go crazy for you. Post stories with girls and friends on your Instagram to show them you are having fun without them. When you chase the shadow, it runs. When you move away from the shadow, it follows you. But I don't know how these lead to great relationships. It's basically a relationship founded on manipulation more than it is on natural chemistry. It's toxic behavior. When I text, I just text what I want. I might even send 5 messages in a row if it's a detailed response. And although my phone is on silent, when I see a message, I just quickly reply and move on with my day. Don't like me because I do that? I probably dodged a bullet. Story 4. Be quick to grab attention or get ready to be passed over. It isn't absurd. It's a reflection of how the dating world works today, with everyone having so many potential options to choose from. Story 5. I was feeling a little low, so I called this girl so that I have someone to talk to. She went on to say, I am disappointed in you. I thought you were good with emotions. No one likes to hear sad stuff. So I guess you cannot be a little vulnerable in the beginning. Story 6. Job title and status are more important than whether the person you're trying to date enjoys what they do. I'm a male server and bartender with a college degree. I love my job and make $75,000 a year. Yet women actively judge and look down on me and my profession because it's considered a low-level job in society. These same women will be impressed by career men who hate their jobs and make way less. Story 7. A distinctly Western rule that I've noticed is that people seem to think that a date has to be an expensive or strictly planned evening out. A date can be anything. A beer in the park, walking the dog, seeing a local band, just walking around and talking. Yes, those can all be dates. A date should be fun first and foremost, not some interview you have to pay to get into. Story 8. The fact that you have to jump right into dating or hooking up without being friends first. I don't know if there is anyone else out there who feels the way I do, but I need to know the person first and establish a friendship before I can leap into dating. I think it helps me sort out the people I do and don't connect with before wasting time on someone with dates when I barely know them. It also helps when you are able to see a person and who they are when they are not trying to impress you. Unfortunately, there is a whole stigma about being friend-zoned, and I have been told that my thinking in this regard is flawed. Story 9. You can act like you are in a relationship, spending 5 nights a week, meeting parents, and going on vacation. But until you have the exclusivity talk, you are free to date other people. Story 10. Women are equal to men, but some expect them to always make the first move, anticipate thoughts and disposition, pay for dates, or treat them like a princess. Not every woman is like that, but there are surprisingly many who are, and it is absolutely ridiculous. Story 11. I have to say I resent that men are expected to pay for dates. Whoever asked should pay. It is men initiating dates 9 times out of 10, probably even more. Also, does this apply when you ask a friend out to dinner? Of course not. You both pay your own way because you want to spend that time together. I reluctantly pay so I don't come off as cheap or poor, but if she doesn't offer, I consider it a red flag. If she doesn't offer by the 2nd or 3rd date, then I'm moving on. It is a sexist and archaic tradition that women uphold because it benefits them. There is no other way around that. Story 12. That there are still rules to cisgender heterosexual dating. That's the weirdest part of all to me. We all collectively know the rules and agree they are terrible. Men, there's no reason to be a playboy anymore. Plenty of women want one-night stands, you just have to ask. Women, there's no reason to play hard to get. Plenty of men want commitment. Just communicate what you want. That's literally it, that's all you need to do. Story 13. Man, I thought I was the only one. I keep running into women who love all the attention of dating but want none of the commitment. It has honestly ruined my trust in women. There always seems to be an angle. Story 14. Dating apps, in my opinion, have created a nasty breeding ground of toxicity. This commercialized dating, which has brought out all of its worst aspects. It destroys the self-esteem of any man who isn't a model and gives most women so many options that some of them become complacent and use their dates as a means to an end. People with good intentions of finding a relationship on either the man or woman's side are usually left disappointed. Many rules have now been amplified from the culture. Tinder and other apps have created where people's attention spans become limited and surface-level qualities are the only things that are valued. I had one decent 9-month relationship from the app that taught me a lot. I'm a guy. The other dates were all the same. There are mostly zero genuine intentions with any transparency. Either the man or woman usually has a use for them and then it's to the curb. Story 15. 1. Be attractive. 2. Don't be unattractive. There are only so many factors that you can control. Realistically, you can only go up about 2 scales out of 10 by adjusting hygiene, clothing, hobbies, and so on. Story 16. That if you show interest to someone in the real world, for example, in a bar, there is a good chance that now someone will call you a creep. Too much of dating now is handled online. Luckily, I've been with the same person for almost 10 years now, so it makes no difference to me. Story 17. It is absurd that in the first date, courtship, or early relationship phase, men are still expected to pay for everything. In my opinion, it goes against everything feminism stands for, that a woman should think less of a man for wanting to split the bill or let her pay sometimes. Tinder dates, for example. If you make plans to go out with a girl you met online and do not offer to pay for everything, there will be no second date and certainly no sexual relations. She will just move on to the next desperate match. Story 18. The most absurd thing about modern dating is that there are the old gender role rules like the man always pays, always initiates, etc., and new rules that are much less gender specific. The absurdity is you don't know which set or combination of some from one set and others from the other a person happens to believe in, and so you can end up offending someone doing something that another person may expect. Here's an example. In old rules, men always pay. The woman may offer to cover their share, but the man must always refuse. And if he lets her pay, then he's cheap and not a gentleman. In new rules, people can do what they want, so if the woman offers to cover her share, she means it, and a refusing to let her pay is seen as chauvinistic, that he wants something else from her. Now, if I'm at dinner with a girl and I pay and she offers to cover her part, how am I supposed to know what to do? That and the whole just stop responding to people you aren't interested in. Granted, if the conversation ended naturally and neither party started it back up, then no big deal, but if you're in the middle of making plans and they straight up stop responding, that means you're supposed to leave them alone and get lost. Trying to get a hold of them again is just seen as clingy and desperate, whereas it'd be totally normal in any other type of relationship. Story 19. That you can go out on a date, be on your phone, and make zero eye contact with the person who asked you out because you are too busy on your phone or taking selfies. Story 20. When you're a man, you work hard, and the woman is the reward. When you're a woman, you are the reward. If a man struggles and can't build himself up to the standard set by women, then he's often forced to struggle on through alone until he can recover to the point of being able to attract someone. Whereas most men won't be too concerned if you have mental health issues or are going through struggles or financial troubles, they're okay with being the provider because she is the reward. I'm not saying guys with mental health issues, traumas, low income, etc. can't get girls, but it's so much harder. And I think that could contribute a lot to the rising suicide rates among men today. I just wish I could be desirable in and of myself despite what I've been through. Story 21. That we have to be official for our relationship to be legitimate. Yeah, I totally get it. Even though you haven't asked me, can you be my girlfriend? Or whatever. I technically can go see other men since I'm not committed, but I don't care. If I'm interested in you and you seem genuinely interested in me, I don't think we need to say we are official. Story 22. Is everyone on this thread from America or something? I'm 21 from the United Kingdom and have never heard of these rules. No double texting. Wait as long as they waited to reply. Do people actually follow these absurd rules? Or are people making up absurd rules of modern dating? Story 23. Basically, everything about modern dating is nonsense, but if you have to make me pick one, the time spans to answer. Not answering immediately to avoid appearing needy, but not waiting too long in order to not lose interest. It's weird, impractical, and it's just the beginning of the messed up power games that are modern relationships. Story 24. That you should date within your league. I'm not denying that leagues exist because to an extent they do, but I've heard so many stories of how people are like, oh, you deserve someone better looking or you're too good for him or her, to people saying stuff like, oh, I can't date her. She's way too good for me. This is a mentality that can ruin confidence because there's more to a relationship than just looks. Then they either give up without giving it a go because who knows, maybe the person actually liked you and you hesitated because of leagues. I just say, go for it. If you like someone, ask them out. Even if they're the perfect 10 and the popular girl or guy, you never really know until you try. Don't concede defeat and don't give up so fast. Story 25. That ghosting is a thing. The only acceptable time to cease communication is in abusive situations or when the guy does not listen to explicit statements denying interest. It's not that he doesn't pick up on the cues, as that's not mature communication, but a genuine ignoring of a decline. Story 26. As a woman here, I just want to say that the dating game is terrible. Just say exactly what you mean. Don't spare feelings. Don't skirt around the truth. Just say whatever you have to say. Not vibing? Say so. Digging it? Say so. It's not hard. Date not great? Say thank you, split the bill, and wish each other luck. None of us should have to waste time playing high school games. Story 27. There really aren't any rules. You can sort of do what you want legally. I think these rules do more to hurt people's chances at finding a connection than helping them. Story 28. Oh, another one is, you have to tell the women you are going out with that you have a vasectomy. No, I don't. They don't have to tell me if they are unable to have children or are using birth control methods like the pill or patch. They get to say, my body, my choice. So do I. Unless she's very forward and says she never wants kids, I would never tell somebody I was dating until there is a very strong connection that I have a vasectomy. Worst case, I can use some resources from the sperm bank or get a donor. Story 29. The role social media plays, or at least the role people allow it to play. I've heard about breakups because one person liked a picture of someone other than their significant other. My God, that's insanely possessive. Story 30. Don't save or hold people on the side, or talk to people you used to be involved with in an openly flirtatious way. If you're in a relationship, that time has passed. Put both feet in or get out. Story 31. Being difficult or playing hard to get. I don't know what is wrong with me, but the harder I try, the less a girl is interested. If I only treat a woman like a hookup or I just don't fancy her, they become obsessed. I have split up with beautiful women because they wouldn't give me space and time for myself. Yet others never text me first, but I'm falling head over heels for them. Story 32. Maybe not so much about dating, but about looking for the right one. You cannot let yourself be seen as lonely and depressed. You haven't found the right one. It's taking years, which means you'll literally have less lifetime to spend with your dear. And that's if you even find your love. But God forbid you show anything else but that everything is okay. And you cannot be anxious because why should you? Only the very meaning of your existence is at stake, the continuation of life, not to mention everything you dreamed of and more, instead of everything you feared and a lot more. Story 33. Even though this is a traditional view, the rule that men should pay for most things is still common. If they're making double my wage, then maybe I'd like them to contribute a little more than me, or I'll be straightforward and say, I can't afford this, and vice versa if I'm earning more. But things as simple as a first date or similar situations, even if the guy has already said he'll pay, I'll always offer. I always approach it with the mindset that I'm at least going to pay half. When I was a student going on a date with other students, we'd always split because we were both probably not great with money. When I was a student in Japan, Japanese people were really surprised by the whole splitting the bill thing, as it's totally normal and not questioned there for the guy to pay all or the majority of the bill. Story 34. I'm 41, and I've been in a long-term relationship for a long time, so I'm a bit out of the loop on all this. Reading these replies is informative, I guess, but also depressing and dehumanizing as anything. Things were just so different back in my 20s and even 30s. If this is really how dating works, I'd rather just not date if that time ever comes. Story 35. Everything is madness, and nothing makes sense. Technology was supposed to make things easier, but all it did was make things crazier faster. I just want to take someone to dinner and a movie. Why is that so hard? Story 36. We are all cripplingly alone, desperate for attention and approval via social media, which proves this. Yet we treat dating in such a way that keeps us all as free and uncommitted as possible. Then we wonder why we are still alone. We are all cowardly morons addicted to dopamine and the rushes we get from meeting and being with someone new.